Hi guys, welcome to Industry Talks with AAB. I am your host, Akuya Abedi-Boafo. Industry Talks is a podcast that helps upcoming filmmakers make their way within the industry. So I am with a very special guest today, Rowan Bray. Rowan has spent her career in the UK's post-production industry, managing a range of award-winning facility houses. She joined Clearcut Pictures in 2017 and had overseen the growth of the company into a group of complementary post-production businesses. Rowan has contributed to the wider industry with an emphasis on training and developing the next generation of post-production teams. She also sits on numerous panels, including the UK Screen Alliance Facilities Council, helping decide policies affecting facilities and service providers in post-production, VFX and studios. So, hello Rowan.
Hi.
I'm very glad to have you here. I'm really excited about this interview. How's your day been so far?
It's been really good.
Busy?
Yep, the sun's out, the facility's busy, lots of people doing lots of things.
Okay, cool. So I want to get to know you. I want to know, who's Rowan outside of work, your upbringing, where you're from. So let me know all about you.
I'm a South Londoner.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, South London, but my parents said I had to speak properly. I grew up with parents who'd started on quite hard times and they'd made good things of their lives and they expected that of their children. I've got brothers. I'm now a mum to 2 children, wife to a successful freelancer husband who does photography. We live in South London still, and we have my elderly parents just around the corner. So I do a certain amount of care as well as work. And we have a madhouse in France that's falling down and needs to be rebuilt.
Well, so do you travel a lot?
To and from France a lot. Today, doors are being built.
Oh wow, that's really nice. Have you got family there, or is it just France was somewhere you wanted to
There's a family connection to where we are, but that's it.
Where in South London did you grow up?
Wandsworth.
Wandsworth. Ah, okay, that's really cool. So you are a managing director
Yeah.
of a very successful post house.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to get into the business? Was it TV you were interested in, or was it just business in general that you really liked doing?
Oh no, I think what the business did was more interesting to start with.
Okay.
So I was going to be in the theatre.
Oh.
That was my plan when I was in school, in college and leaving school. And that turned out to be really tough, just like getting into TV is tough. So about 50% of all the people who work in TV, I fell into it by accident as a way of keeping somewhere near theatre and loved it.
Wow. Okay, so let's take it back a bit. So how did you actually end up here? So you started in theatre, and then where did you go next?
So my accidental path was to start working for a magazine called Televisual, which everyone probably knows. It's one of the big magazines now. And we're going back more than 30 years. We won't count. Yes, we really won't count. And so then it was I joined Televisual magazine. They were serving the industry as a business publication for the industry. From there, I went to work for one of the post-production companies who were advertising in that magazine and thought post-production was fun and stayed put.
That's really cool. Did you have anyone, a manager there, that inspired you to be?
I've had managers who inspire me all the way through. I've also had colleagues who inspire me all the way through. You can learn from everyone. Very
true. Have you got one in particular that stuck with you?
The director of Televisual magazine, the publisher, was inspirational as a woman and as a fiery business lady. So she was a great start. But, you don't do well in post-production unless you're prepared to be quite versatile, take the knocks. So everyone I've worked for has cared about the business, has been in it for for what it does, and has brought something. So I wouldn't want to pick one out. They're all around.
Fair enough.
They're all around still.
Fair enough. So what actually is the role of a managing director? What do you do?
Well, I guess the post-production business is offering all those services to people making programs: editing, graphics, sound, grading, delivery of files. Mm-hmm. So we have 70 staff doing that, 24 hours a day. So I might be fixing a burglar alarm or helping work out how to give people better cups of coffee, but I might also be looking at the accounts or working out who we're going to recruit next, or talking about how we improve our buildings, or what services we need, or talking to a client about a new product or a new project that they want to work on, a commission they've got, looking at the security of our business. It's really varied.
So this might be like not a silly question, but some people don't know. So what is post-production and what is its functions within TV?
So if you're making a television programme, you have the choice of buying some technology. You're probably quite limited in what you can buy. And once you've bought it, you want to try and use it again and again because it's incredibly expensive. Or you hire the services you need as you make your programme. So when you're making an 8K programme for NHK, you're going to use very different cameras and post-production technology to someone who's making an HD programme for daytime television on a smaller channel. So by hiring the post-production as you want it, you get experts who only do that, and you get the appropriate solutions for what you're doing.
So why would you say having a post house is important rather than people just going like in-house at a production company?
Production companies don't have the skills. There's 70 of us. We've all got incredible skills here. There is a completely different training, skill set, ability to drive these computers, to grade at fantastic levels, to mix audio that's for award-winning shows. To do that, you've got to do it day in, day out. A jack of all trades is a master of none. We're masters of our trade, and so people come to us when they want those services.
Does Clearcut ever work with independent filmmakers, or is it strictly just broadcasters? What is that relationship like with post houses and independent filmmakers that doing like a feature?
We work across the piece, but we tend to work in non-scripted. So we're not doing dramas, we're not doing costume dramas and big feature films, working to scripts. We're working in the non-scripted area, from My Life as a Rolling Stone, which won a Banff Award last week, right the way through, I know, hooray! Right the way through to Celebrity Hunted, through to Panoramas. We did the programme about North Korea that went out last week. We'll be working on a true crime series, medical programmes that are multi-episodic, right through to singles. But our relationship with our customer is whoever's controlling the budget for that programme. So if it's the production company who's being commissioned, we'll be working for them. If the broadcaster is making the programme themselves, for instance the BBC, we'll be working directly for them.
What are the different departments that are in post houses in different roles for people that are interested in post-production but don't actually know about post-production?
Sure. So most people come to us in the client services department. That's the runners, that's reception, it's the maintenance of the buildings and so on. But most people are runners, and it's a great starting point. We have a 6-month training course which involves learning about reception, about how to manage the client relationship, what happens in all the stages of what's going through, how to manage media, security, building management, every aspect of a bit of accounts, every aspect of running the business. And then from there, we invite people to apply for jobs as they come up, whether that's in client services at a further level up, or bookings or operations, and we provide the training for those roles so that they end up in one of our main departments. So there are creative departments for the picture department, for the audio department. There are the people who do the bookings and the scheduling. There's sales, there's engineering, there's operations, and as we've said, there's client services.
What would you say is the benefit of working in a process at the beginning of your career?
If someone from a production phones up and asks to talk to us about their post-production needs, you can always tell when they've worked in a post-production company for a while, because they've got a really good idea of what to ask for. So there's a clear benefit whether people end up working in post-production or in production to at least getting a great grounding in post.
What would you say makes a good runner?
Communication, positivity, energy, masses of energy, and enthusiasm.
Okay. So, what type of difficulties, challenges do you face when working with clients, when working in post?
So every project we do is a separate project. If you're a sculptor, you know that you're going to make the most amazing sculpture. Every program is the product of the craftspeople who've made it. And every program is a separate product. It isn't the same. It's not a car production line where we make the same thing over and over again. Every program is different. So a great post-production house will listen to the client, will understand their budget constraints, their creative intentions, their ambitions, and they will help them to make the best possible program they can with the resources they've got that meet the technical requirements of the broadcaster they're making the program for.
I'm sure you have like a lot of different colleagues that are working right now in post-production but would want to do production eventually. Would you say it's hard to move over to that side of the industry if you start in post-production?
No, I think they're transferable skills. People don't tend to come out of college ready to work in production. They've got a good idea of the process, but they don't understand delivering to a deadline and a budget and working with a team of people in a professional manner. So if you start in post-production, you'll learn a lot of the skills you need to work in production. And a lot of production companies will seek out people who've had some experience already, whether that's in post or in props or in locations or whatever.
Yeah, I agree, because I feel like people have this assumption that if I want to work in production, I still try post-production because it's different from what I want to do.
About 50% of our client services staff move on into production.
Oh, wow.
After their first 6 months with us.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people do assume that, let me not apply for post-production jobs because I want to go into production. But I feel like it's a really good way to start out and to learn post-production. Because as you mentioned before, like, you know who has worked in post-production by having a conversation with them, because people are just very clueless about post.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do definitely agree with that. I feel like there's so much different like industries that a lot of people are interested in this industry, but they don't think they have a chance in working here because maybe they're in a completely different industry. For example, like the music industry, people don't know that, you know, as a producer, you might be interested in doing audio for TV. So what would you say to those people that think they can't transfer those skills from like the music industry to
What we're
audio?
looking for is energy, enthusiasm, communication skills, and an aptitude. So those are transferable skills. If you know how you can make a record or you can make a pop promo, you can transfer those organisational, sort of logistical skills across. So I think there's a lot of very similar industries. You know, theatre, film, TV, music, advertising, the arts, a lot of it is transferable.
Mm-hmm. So you've been working in post-production for a while now.
That's all we're going to say about that, yeah.
And I know you've seen like a lot of really cool different changes, a lot of innovation taking place. So what for you has been the most exciting thing about its evolution so far? And where do you see post-production growing to?
It's a journey. It hasn't stopped changing. It's still changing. Artificial intelligence is the next big thing for us. So at the moment we quality check our products and we make sure the spelling's correct and we transcribe our video recordings, you know, very laboriously. All of that will change over the next couple of years as machines start to edit programs, do graphics, do transcriptions. They'll start writing scripts and so on and so forth. So all those changes are coming now, but they're built on ever-changing sounds. You know, when I started in the business, people still worked on film or they were working on the beginnings of videotape. Now we think film's obsolete and we think videotape's obsolete. Oh no, film's having a resurgence in a different sort of way. Videotape's definitely obsolete.
So tell us a bit more about Clearcut Pictures and how does it differ from other post houses?
We have 3 buildings here in London and another one in Birmingham. And we also provide pop-up services wherever anybody wants, whether that's Norfolk or the middle of America. We've provided facilities wherever people want them. The company provides full service, so from the original ingest of brushes through offline to online, sound, grade and delivery. And all the technicals and associated operational support for that across the board. We're different from our competitors because we're very willing to make our programs uniquely their way. So we come up with a separate workflow for every program. We don't try and make programs in line with the workflow that we've used previously, or we don't have standard ways of doing things. We are specialists in non-scripted, so we're interested in facts and documentary and current affairs and specialist factual. Our staff are specialists in what they do.
So post-production and production people that work in there, they're always communicating with each other to get the product finished.
Yeah.
What roles are the ones liaising with each other?
Oh, I see. So if a production company comes to us to talk about a project, we will deploy our business development team to talk to them. They've got all the time it takes to identify exactly what the client wants, to tailor a product for them that will suit their needs, to price it up, to negotiate all of those aspects. And they'll be supported by workflow managers and technology managers to identify the best possible solution. Once they've worked that out, then they will pass that, once the project's underway, they'll pass that project to a post-producer who's a bit like a production manager from a production point of view, but they're specialists in production managing the post-production process. So they will then schedule all the equipment, all the operators, all the time, all the services required to deliver the agreed workflow for that product to deliver the eventual master program and help the client all the way through. And it does move and it does change and the plan moves and the schedules move as we go along.
Mm-hmm. How would people work in production make people's lives in post-production easier when doing those transfers and those talk conversations?
Some of them make our lives incredibly complicated, but a lot of people know what they're doing and they don't. It comes down to how well the project goes. You can plan brilliantly and then the interviewee on the day is sick and the weather is appalling and the archive doesn't get delivered, and that's just what happens and we all work with it. That's the fun of it. It's the fact that it's not predictable. Other people set out to film without a plan, without any archive, without a realistic schedule and with an unrealistic budget. And then that's a different sort of challenge and a different sort of fun and games day in, day out. Mm-hmm. That's why it's fun. It's different every time.
Okay, so I feel like diversity is something that a lot of people have complained about when it comes to post-production, especially when it comes to senior levels. So how is Clearcut Pictures trying to make the company a more diverse place?
Diversity comes in many forms. I agree, if you look at the training it takes to become a great online editor or a great grader or a great sound mixer, you've probably got 15 to 20 years under your belt. That means change is coming slowly. The people who were recruited as runners and operators 30 years ago, 20 years ago, are the ones who are now holding those senior roles. Mm-hmm. However, if you look at the company under 30 and you look at the profile of the company over the age of 30, they're incredibly different. But we mustn't just look at skin colour. It's important. We must look at background, economic upbringing. We must look at whether we've got people with neurodiversity and so on and so forth. And as a company, we're very proud of the fact that we have registered disabled, we have people with all sorts of different characteristics. And that, bringing that together is what makes us the people we are.
Okay, nice. We're actually at the end of our interview. That went so quick. So I got just a few questions more to ask you. So what are 2 things you've learned over this past year? It's been, over the past year, last 12 months. 1 in life in general, and then 1 working in TV.
It's lifelong learning. You should learn something new every day. I'm not sure I've learnt anything specifically in the last year that I would say was unique. Running a business is about meeting and confronting challenges head on. We've opened this office in Birmingham. I've learnt that running a building project in another city without someone on the ground is much harder than you could ever have imagined it would be. But I've also learnt that if you get the right team on side and they're willing to help you, actually you can achieve great things unexpectedly. So that's that one. At home, I think I've had to learn as members of my family get a bit older that you can't always control everything you want to control. That's a tough one.
Let go of control, basically.
Don't think I'm able to let go of control.
Okay, so if you were stranded on a desert island and you could only bring 2 things, what would that be?
When I thought about this long and hard, I'm a people person. So I think I want a wind-up radio that is connected to some radio channels. So even if I can't communicate out, I can hear that the wider world is there still. And I can sing along to the music. And in terms of a practical thing, I was going to say a sharp knife, because I reckon I'd need a sharp knife. However, I ended up thinking I'd take a toolkit.
Okay, why a toolkit?
So it's more than just a sharp knife.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Okay, I want to throw in one more question. Well, I have another one, so last 2. Okay, what advice would you give to people trying to get into post-production?
Persist and don't expect too much of your first job. Okay. Too many arrive, told by universities, you've run up this fantastic debt, and the only way you can get in is to have a degree from us, and then you will be ready to be a director or you'll be ready to be an editor. And I think you start learning when you're actually trying to do it for real. So don't have too many expectations. You don't have to go to university. Half our staff don't, who come in at the entry-level positions. We run apprenticeships here. We run training schemes here. We can do all of those things. So come with enthusiasm and energy and passion, and we'll do the rest.
I love that advice. That's really good. Okay, and if you won the UK's Best Post House, who would you thank?
We have won the UK's Best Post House in the past, but we haven't entered it for a few years, granted. I would thank the staff first and the clients second.
Okay.
And my lucky stars third. It's a tough old market out there and companies are really doing very good work. So if we were to win it, and I think we'd be in with a good shout, it'd be down to the people who work here.
Okay, actually one more question.
Uh-oh.
Is there anything you're doing right now that we should look out for?
At any one time, the company's doing about 80 projects. Right from ones that are just starting through to ones that are just finishing. So we're working on Celebrity Hunted, tonight's Panorama, some brilliant programmes about crime. There's some fantastic medical ones. There's some science ones coming up. We're doing a natural history series with Simon Reeve. A bit of an inside track on one of the big hotels. Very glamorous. I mean, you know, you name it. It's all going through. It's great fun.
So a lot is coming.
Lots coming. Oh, Changemakers, Paramount Plus. That'll be a good one. That
is really good. That's going to be a really good one.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that one. I went to Ghana as well, and I'm from Ghana, so...
There you are. Can't be wrong.
Well, thank you so much, Rowan. I've really enjoyed this conversation.
You're welcome. People should get in touch if they want to take it further.
Yes, definitely. If you're a runner, want to get involved.
Get on their website. There's a careers address. Email in.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.